Hello, folks. Bill and Brian here with Refining Reality. We are part of the Oil and Gas Global Network family of podcasts. And so we're glad and happy to be part of that family. And listen, today we'll be talking a little bit about what is inside a barrel when you refine it. So Refining Reality is going to be talking about that. I don't know, Brian, if we're going to be talking about the reality refining or are we going to refine actual reality?
We're going to manifest. We're going to manifest reality. We're going to refine it and make it even better.
We're going to try to take it to a deeper level or a higher level. I never know which way we're going on that. But so we're glad you're with us. And this show is sponsored by Tracerco. We'll talk a little bit more about them here in just a minute. But Brian, let's talk about this barrel thing. I mean, everybody talks about a crude oil barrel being a barrel like they're all the same. And we both know
Right.
that is not the case.
So, for those that don't know us, if you're listening to this for the first time, Bill and I created a company called Energy Rogue, and we cover energy markets, oil markets, natural gas liquids, and refined product markets. So, in covering that, sometimes there is things lost in translation. Like, for example, people talk about what is the crude consumption of the United States? Well, the crude consumption doesn't exist. We don't consume crude oil. When we fill up our car, when an airplane flies, when a ship burns fuel, those are consumption. But that is not consuming crude oil. That is consuming the products that are on the opposite side of the refinery.
Right.
So
I was looking at it this way. It's sort of like I don't eat wheat, but I do eat bread.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's a good way of thinking about it. So what we have is a nifty little visual right here that we can look at. If you're listening to this, we will talk it through.
Oh wow, that's really nifty, Brian. Really nifty. This is the word you're going to use.
Yes, that is the word that I'm going to use.
And here we are, folks, broadcasting from the 1950s and with a nifty little chart.
Yeah. So a typical crude oil barrel here in the United States, a barrel is measured in 42 gallons. And then that 42 gallons goes into a refinery, and different products are generated out of that. And refineries typically produce 45 gallons of refined products from 42 gallons of crude oil. Right. Why is that, Bill?
Well, because there's secrets inside the refinery, and there's these little elves that keep adding things into it, and we don't know where they come from. But maybe it's just because they don't know where they're at. We call them refinery elves.
Refinery elves? What is a refinery L?
No, elf. E-L-F.
Oh, elf.
Elf.
Like Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Only smaller.
Refinery elves. No, seriously. Yeah, but besides the refinery elves, which I'm curious about that, and we may have to have a conspiracy episode on refining elves. I think that might be an episode. If you want that, let us know.
Hey, maybe I can get on the Y-Files. That'll be awesome.
Oh gosh, love that show. Love that show. The
reality is that as you heat things, they do expand. They do cause more products, and that's what's really happening in refineries. That you're getting some heat and some what they recall it as a processing gain, and that's why when you do chemical reactions, sometimes you end up with more than what you expected. And so that's it's not the evil oil guys getting profits. It's just the chemical reactions of the processing and the refining of the crude oil.
Yeah, and I typically think about it one of two ways because I like to think about it this way. Crude oil is dense energy, and then as it becomes less dense into those products, there's an expansion. So there's a density. As the density is less dense, gasoline is less dense than crude oil, so it's less energy dense. So it consumes more space. And as Bill talked about, the heat plays a factor, and you can typically look at this with an ice cube. If you have a water that goes into an ice cube tray for those of you that are from way back in the day that both Bill and I have struggled with in the past as ice trays. You would have a
I
water
mean, like
that
I did this
actually,
morning,
yeah, I,
I
I
still have ice
mean,
trays.
why not? It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy, and it's more energy efficient. So what we're looking at when we look at that is when something is cooled, it shrinks. When something is heated, it expands. So as part of that refining process, there is a heat exchanger, and that heat expands it into other products. So
Is
what?
that why if my closet's cold, my clothes are fit differently?
Yes, it's not because of all that barbecue. It's definitely
No, it
not.
has nothing to do with barbecue. It's about my
No.
closet. My closet is cold. That's it.
The barbecue and ice cream have nothing to do with your clothes fitting tighter. You know, in the summer, it fits tighter.
Yeah, exactly.
In the winter, it's a
It's
little
because
looser.
right because in the summer it's expanding because of the heat.
Yeah. Um, but
Or maybe it's me that's expanding.
when we're looking at a typical crude oil barrel, you can think about it as almost half of it is gasoline. And then another quarter of it is diesel. So this is where a lot of financial traders cover the 3-2-1 crack spread, which we track daily here at Energy Road. Today it's $46.12, which for those counting prior to the Strait of Hormuz being shut down, this was probably about $22. So it's more than
Right.
doubled when it comes to that. But the trading mechanism is 3 barrels of crude oil equals 2 barrels of gasoline and one of diesel. And the reason why it it's oversimplified is there's other products beyond gasoline and diesel. And this is where the term distillate comes in because you have, say, 9%. This is a typical US barrel. Every barrel that is produced is a little bit different. So that's important to understand. If you drill a well next to another well, they may be similar, but they're not going to be the same.
And so they come from different zones as well.
Yeah.
And so based on the content of the barrel, you're going to get a different percentage of these various things, but you're going to get still the same things. You don't get
Hmm.
something new.
Yeah.
You're going to get a different percentage of these, and it's going to be, you know, based on that. And by the way, when you get down there, I know this is going to make some people upset, but down there where it says lubes and wax, that's lipstick.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So lipstick is a petroleum product.
Well, it makes sense. It definitely tracks.
Yeah. So
That definitely tracks. But
yeah, we won't, I don't. I try not to mention that to any of my female friends because
but when you
some of
look at
them.
this, you've got. I'm going to read them off for those listening. 45% of a typical U.S. crude barrel is gasoline.
Right.
26% is diesel. 9% is jet fuel. And then other distillate, such as heating oil or tractor fuel, is going to be 5%. Then you have 4%, which are HGLs. Is that hydrocarbon gas liquids? Is that what it means?
Yeah, we call them NGLs. If you've done
Yeah.
anything in the natural gas side, it's NGLs.
Yeah. For some reason, if you're doing natural gas processing, which deals with propanes and butanes and other anes, if you're dealing with natural gas processing, it's called natural gas liquids, and refinery tailgates called it hydrocarbon gas liquids. I don't know why. There may be a chemistry reason why. So if you're a chemist, reach out, let us know.
And by the way, a lot of people don't realize when you see down there it says tractor fuel, that's basically your off-road diesel, sometimes called red diesel. It's not
Mm,
it's not processed as much as the transportation diesel.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that's really basically the difference in that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Does farming equipment use more diesel or that red diesel that you're talking about?
or red diesel, mainly because it is also gets a different it's treated different. So
Okay.
farmers don't pay the motor fuel tax. They pay the off road tax, the off road diesel tax. Your construction equipment will use off road diesel.
Okay.
So
All
all your
right.
bulldozers and all your big machines will be using that off road diesel. And they put a red
Okay.
dye into it so you can tell the difference. You try to put that into your truck for your over the road trucker, and it will
Mm-hmm.
run horribly. So they're
Oh,
tuned
wow.
differently. So
Okay. Well, the engine and the fuel have to match. It's
right.
why you can't put diesel
Well,
in your car, right?
but the military got past that because they created an engine that will burn just about anything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It'll burn jet fuel, it'll burn diesel, it'll burn the gasoline, it'll burn tractor fuel. I mean, it'll burn used motor oil.
Wow. Wow.
And so, but it is not very environmentally friendly as far as on the output. Because when you
I
burn all that stuff, bad stuff
I
comes
can
out.
imagine. Well, I mean, when you're just burning whatever, it's
Yeah.
part of the reason. It's part of the reason when we talk about energy and energy transition, we're talking about using the appropriate energy source to get the best environmental impact with the right energy product. And that's one thing that it has to do with matching, because there's
Right.
an economic component, there's an economic layer and an environmental layer. And oftentimes there's an offset. If it's less economic, it's more environmental. Not always. We actually are on the ground of something that has a refining technology that emits 90% less emissions than conventional refining. So there's some neat technology out there that is really going to change some things. But
Well, I mean, the big thing to note here is by the time you get to the heating oil and tractor fuel, by the time you
mhm.
get down to that point, you have consumed, what would that be? That's 50, 76. You consumed almost 87% of the barrel.
Right. Yeah, by the time you get there, because you can look at 45, then 26, then 9, then 5, you're
Right.
pretty much you've pretty much taken out quite a bit. But let's go ahead and finish it off. We got 4% hydrocarbon gas liquids or natural gas liquids, mainly propane and butane.
I think, Brian, I'm not for sure, but I think when you talk about that gain is in this 4%.
I can believe that. I can believe that. 3% is residential residual or bunker fuel. This is for ships and power generation. And then 2.5% for petrochemicals, 2% for asphalt, 1.5% for lubes and wax, lipstick, as Bill said, and then 2%, which is just other commodities, because when you get into splitting the molecule, there's a lot of utilization for it. But this is why refining systems are complex. And if you're running a refining or a petrochemical facility, it's important to reach out to our sponsor, TracerCo. This podcast is sponsored by TracerCo. They are a global leader in diagnostic technologies and provide real-time insights into the refining and petrochemical industry, helping you make confident decisions and optimizing performance. This is part of the reason we've seen some of their technology, and it's really kind of cool because they can peek into active systems that are actually operating refining systems and other petrochemical processes. They can peer into it the same way a doctor can use an X-ray or an MRI and
Right.
actually diagnose what's happening behind the scenes without stopping to
Yeah.
see
What's
what
happening?
happens. I mean, that's incredible, isn't it?
And on top of that, if you, instead of doing a one time deal, if you set it up for tracer codes where they're there all the time, and I mean, they have different equipment for different things, you can begin to set a benchmark of your vessel or tower. You can set a benchmark of where it should be And then you can compare it as time goes on to whether it's getting better or worse based on the product that's coming through it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it starts getting to be to where you can realize we just talked about this in the last episode. Some of these refineries are over 100 years old.
Right.
And so, if
Yeah.
you want to get that extra 5 years out of them or the extra 10 years out of them, or if you're actually leaving money on the table by not processing as much as you could be,
Mm-hmm.
this is how you find that out.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, when you look at it, I mean, let's do some quick math. We've got what did we say the crack spread was? $46, and how many barrels are refined in the United States? 16.
I'm going to call it 16.5 million barrels.
Okay, well, we'll just call it 16 million. So what that equates to is, let me count the zeros. Thousand million, $736 million worth of value in refining on one day. So three
I think you
quarters
missed
of
your.
a
I think you missed your. I think you
did I?
missed your zeros. Yeah,
Did I? Okay, let's
because if it's 16 million times 44,
equals 16 times 46. This no, that's 736
okay,
million. Three quarters of $1 billion of value or spread. And this is the reason we actually founded Energy Rogue, because prior to the Strait of Hormuz being shut down, it was probably 350
right,
million. So that is just this value spread from crude oil into all these different products. So that's what's fascinating is that all these different products are on the opposite side of the refining spread. And what's interesting is that $46 is not what refiners are actually making. That is the 3 barrels for 2 to gasoline and 1 to diesel. When they're
right.
selling these other products, they're actually making more money than that.
Well, right, because their spreads are it's just a smaller piece of it,
Yeah.
and it's very complex to follow all of that. And so we try to make it easier, and that's why you should be subscribing to Energy Rogue. Either Rogue Radar or Rogue Edge, and for the price of Starbucks coffee, you can know a lot more about the energy business.
You'll actually understand. I just got an email, Bill. I forgot to tell you. I just got an email from one of our members, and they just were saying thank you because they took us from they said if I listen to Fox, if I listen to CNN, everything gets convoluted, and you
Right,
guys cut through the noise and actually provide the context without a political narrative, without a thing like that. Because what we do is we package up data analytics, visuals, so that you're equipped with all the tools so that you can understand trajectory, direction of the market, so that you can understand supply, demand, and stocks. And then we provided a narrative as far as here's what's happening in the energy industry, here's what's going on, because there's a lot of times a different element that is happening in the physical market. For example, right now, crude oil is $90 at WTI,
right.
but on a ship, it is maybe 130. So,
Yeah,
part of,
if you showed up in China right now with a ship full of crude oil,
yeah,
you might be surprised what you get for it.
yeah. But essentially, there is a physical narrative and a financial narrative, and we bring it all together so that you can actually understand what is happening in the crude market, the natural gas market, all the natural gas liquids like propane, butane, ethane, isobutane, and natural gasoline, and the refined products, diesel, gasoline, jet fuel. We cover all this inside of Energy Rogue. So listen, thank you so much for being with us. We really
That's
wanted
right.
to kind of dive into the main part of the episode, which is content matters, and we're not talking about social media.
That's right. We're not talking about podcasts. Content matters. Well, actually, I guess we are talking about podcasts because content matters there. But in refining, content matters.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we'll tell you what. Thanks so much for being with us. Any parting words of wisdom, Bill?
No parting words of wisdom. Just be nice to one another. We don't have to hate one another even when we disagree. Brown and I disagree
Just
from time to time, and
every day.
he's really
Every
good
day.
about being wrong.
Well, and I don't care what they say about you. Wearing gray really it works for you. So
Oh, yeah, that's it.
there,
That's right.
yeah,
Matches my hair.
exactly, exactly. Well, listen,
Both of
folks,
them.
thanks so much. Appreciate you, and we will talk to you next week. Appreciate you stopping in. Talk soon.
Thanks for listening to OGGN, the world's largest and most listened to podcast network for the oil and energy industry. If you like this show, leave us a review and then go to oggn.com to learn about all our other shows. And don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter. This show has been a production of the Oil and Gas Global Network.